Evening, all. Welcome to the match preview. Leicester versus Chelsea. A return for Wesley Fofana as he comes back to the King Power Stadium for the first time since his £75 million plus move to Stamford Bridge. I'm sure he'll be in for a good reception. Chilwell, we know he's been back already, but he'll be returning again tomorrow as we host Chelsea at the King Power Stadium. Kante, I don't think he'll be playing. Drink water. I think his time at Chelsea's gone. But we're going to talk to Charlie from the Blues Brothers. He'll be giving me an insight into what to expect from Chelsea. Chelsea, I believe, will be missing some players. We'll get into that with Charlie. We'll get his thoughts on the season. We'll get his thoughts on Leicester. We'll ask him about Brendan Rodgers because Brendan Rodgers was at Chelsea once upon a time. Guys, as always, get your comments in and let me know what you think is going to happen in the game. Smash a like on the stream for me if you enjoy the stream. Subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already, please get down to the subscribe button and please do so. Right then, let's get on to the match preview, shall we? And I'll see you in just a minute. Hi all, evening. Hope everyone's well. Welcome to another match preview on the final whistle tonight. We're going to be looking ahead to Leicester versus Chelsea. Chelsea won last weekend, a Wesley Fofana goal against Leeds. They grabbed all 3 points. Leicester, on the other hand, ended with defeat to 1-0 against Southampton. So a bit of either way. But we're going to get Charlie's thoughts on Chelsea just shortly. Let's get a few good evenings in. Fred Holly, how are you, mate? Hope you're well. Holly, nice to see you back on the channel, pal. Hope you're well, mate. Get your comments in as always. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the Leicester-Chelsea game. Evening, Kaysen. Hope you're well. Hello, LCFC. I'm not lying, but just met Fofana and most of the team. Kaysen, you traitor. You absolute traitor. I thought better of you, Kaysen, but I think you've let all the Leicester fans down here. No, Fofana was a good player at Leicester, but just the way he handled things when moving to Chelsea, which we'll get onto with Charlie shortly. Fofana, yeah. 9-0 Leicester. I think we could all wish that. Evening, Jack. Evening, Terry. Jack, no Kante. Mount, Kepa, Aubameyang, Thiago Silva, or Reece James. Interesting. Reckon we could get a point. Who knows? Guys, as always, smash a like on the stream for me if you enjoy the stream. Get involved in the channel as always. Let me know what you think is going to happen, score prediction and all that. We're going to go through it all. We're going to go through footing both camps. You know how it is. Players who have played for both clubs. We've got a few names in there who are very knowable to Leicester fans. So, yeah, let's get our guest in then, Charlie from the Blues Brothers. Charlie, how are you, mate?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, mate. All good. Thanks for having me on.
No, pleasure. Charlie, firstly, let us know what you do on YouTube and that then, if anyone wants to subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, basically, so got my own channel, the Blues Brothers, not the music one, the Chelsea one. And I do regular stuff on there, opposition previews, match reaction, match previews, all sorts really, just any Chelsea stuff, any Chelsea related news, match day vlogs, all sorts. So yeah, if you could head over there and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. And also do stuff for ChelseaFanTV as well. So do a podcast on there and regular fan cams after the games as well.
Charlie, firstly, talk to me, mate, about your love for Chelsea. I'm sure it goes way back to the Gianfranco Zola days and players like that. Talk to me about your love for Chelsea and who was your favourite player, mate, when you were a young lad?
Yeah, mate. It was probably started supporting Chelsea probably like back end of Ranieri, so
Yeah,
2002-3, just before Roman took over, and kind of transformed the club. Kind of earliest memories, the likes of Hasselbank, Good Johnson, Zola, players like Desai, Babiaro, Leboeuf. And things were a little bit different back there. We still picked up a few trophies every now and then, but we were certainly nowhere near the club that we went on to become over the last 20 years, and we are now. So yeah, it kind of just started from there, to be honest, mate. Like, all family have been Chelsea fans, supporting them for 20 plus years. Or yeah, about 20 years. And yeah, that's where it kind of went from, mate. But yeah, players growing up, as I said, Hasselbank, Good Johnson, Zola, those kind of guys. And then in more recent years, obviously your Lampards, your Terrys, Drogba's, Hazards. There's been plenty of quality and great players throughout the years. So yeah, it's hard to say that it's been tough following Chelsea during my time supporting the club, because all we've ever known is success. And to be honest, like, this season's probably been the toughest time following
yeah.
the club.
Surely it's Chelsea's birthday. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Talk
100.
to me about your best Chelsea moment as a fan.
Probably it's probably three, I would say. Definitely that first league title, 2004-05, first one in 50 years, Mourinho's first season. We conceded 15 goals in the whole season. I don't think that record is ever going to be beaten. If I'm being honest, 15 goals in an entire season is an absolute joke. Like, I don't know how we did that. I think we had a record amount of 1-0 wins. So I think we won 9 or 10 games 1-0 that season. That was massive for the club. First league title in 50 years. Obviously, the Champions League final in 2012, Munich, getting the first one under our belts. Obviously, had the disappointment of Moscow losing on the penalty shootout against United a few years before. So getting that first Champions League in Munich was huge. And I suppose the Champions League in Porto as well a couple of years ago was massive for the club also. So probably any one of those three. But yeah, I mean, the other league titles and the FA Cups and the other cups and whatnot have been great. Club World Cup, fantastic to complete the set of all the trophies on offer. But yeah, it's hard to nail it down to one. But yeah, any one of those three out of the two Champions Leagues and the first league title.
Interesting stuff. Charlie, I'm going to ask you about your thoughts on your season, mate. Chelsea have been more downs and ups. We talked about Chelsea yesterday on your channel. Talk to me how these seasons gone. Obviously, you had Thomas Tuchel at the start. Then you sacked Thomas Tuchel after the Champions League game. Then Graham Potter came in from Brighton. You've spent quite a lot of money this season, bringing in Enzo Fernandez. You brought João Felix in on loan. You brought Wesley Fofana in, Mudryk. You spent some money, haven't you, Charlie, this season? Talk to me about Chelsea's season, how it's gone as a Chelsea supporter.
Mate, it's been a mad season. After the sanctions, all we wanted was like just a calm season, just like, nothing too stressful. And yeah, it's been another whirlwind. We start the season with Thomas Tuchel, investment in the summer, the likes of Koulibaly, Fofana, Cucurella, Sterling, Aubameyang coming through the door with amongst some other youngsters as well. And he sort of at the start of the season was feeling fairly positive that we could compete for certainly the top three, maybe even top two places, possibly outside chance of the title. I remember going up to Ellen Road early on in the season in August and on the way up with the boys in the car. We were genuinely thinking, we might have a chance of winning the title, but I mean that's kind of proven so very wrong. We started reasonably well first few games, and then the wheels started falling off. The wheels have been set to fall off for a while. The pre-season was terrible in terms of not just logistically, but in terms of results, frustrations from Tuchel and whatnot. And yeah, obviously he got sacked in September. Not for footballing reasons, just because of disagreements with the board in the direction that the club wanted to go in, what they were asking from him. He very much enjoyed just focusing on the football side of things and letting Cech and Marina take care of everything else. Tuchel just wanted to focus on the coaching. New ownership wanted him to be more hands-on, more involved in other things. So kind of, yeah, not pulling in the same direction. He went. big shoes to fill. Massive fan favourite for the work that he did, the way that he carried the club through that period of sanctions. And Graham Potter comes in, good manager. Don't get me wrong, but under disappointment under Roman would never have happened because all we've ever done is gone for big name managers. We go with Potter. We actually started pretty well, unbeaten in the first 9 games. Yep. Then we got hammered 4-1 at Brighton, and it's kind of gone very, very badly since then. I think we picked up before the last couple of wins this week. We picked up two wins or so in 15, 16 games. Really poor, not good enough, sliding down the table. But hopefully, maybe these last 2 games could be a turning point. Obviously, the win against Leeds, whilst it wasn't spectacular by any accounts, we needed the points desperately. And then a really big performance on Tuesday night to overturn Dortmund. And then we obviously head into this game on the weekend, looking to kind of make it 3 on the bounce and looking for our first away win since October. Up at Villa. So we're well overdue a win on the road. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, it's certainly been a mixed bag, definitely more downs than ups. But, another Champions League quarter-final. And let's see if we can build on that momentum and kind of finish the season on a bit of a high.
With Chelsea being 10th in the league, it's obviously not where you want to be as a Chelsea supporter. You should be around the Champions League places as a football club with the players that you've got. And it's been quite of a down spiral of Chelsea this season. Obviously, quite a few little Chelsea fans would say they want Potter out. Some would say give him time, like Arteta at Arsenal, because things can turn around quickly and you can regret when you do get rid of a manager. You could get somebody else, and then things don't seem to end up the way you wanted them to under that manager that you wanted sacked. You get what I mean? But do you feel now that Chelsea's only way into Europe via the Champions League is winning the Champions League itself this season, Charlie?
Yeah, if we're being honest, the only way we're going to play in that competition next season, as you say, is by winning it. Look, never say never in football, but it would take quite some run. I mean, however many games are left, 12 or 13 games left in the league this season. Yep. If we got any chance of finishing in the top 4, we probably need to win at least 10 of those. And with the way our season's gone so far, that would look unlikely. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're looking realistically best chance to win the Champions League. Other than that, I think our best hope is playing Europa League football next season. I think if we can put a few wins together, we can probably finish 7th, maybe 6th or 7th as our best. But yeah, it's going to be it's a tough season. No European football ideally probably suit us better for next year, but obviously, we're not gonna. That probably isn't going to happen. We'll end up with something, even if it's Conference League. We'll end up with some sort of European football, I would expect. So, yeah, a year out of the Champions League, whilst not ideal, I don't think it's a complete disaster. It's happened to us before, and it may well happen again. And I think in the long run, it could do us some benefit. But of course, when you're sitting at home Tuesday, Wednesday night watching Champions League football and your team's not there, it's tough. And when you get to the Thursday night and you're on, it's just like you get back into that Thursday Sunday routine, which is never ideal. But you can't complain. We've been spoiled over the years, and if we have to have a season out of the Champions League, then so be it. We'll be back stronger for it.
Yep. Do you feel it's gone wrong, Charlie, with up front for Chelsea? You've had the defence, you've had the goalkeeper, you've had the midfield. I feel with Chelsea, looking in from a Leicester fan perspective, it's always been striking position with Chelsea. You've not had that Didier Drogba or that sort of striker who's come in, who's banging in the goals. Obviously, Werner's left. Lukaku came to Chelsea, didn't want to be at Chelsea, went back to Inter Milan. Do you feel that position now has been so much unfilled by Chelsea, and now Todd Bowley's thinking, you know what, we really need to go out in summer and actually go and spend some money on the striker, because Aubameyang for you lot, it ain't working out for him either. Do you think that's where you're missing massive in the team at the minute, in the 11?
Yeah, for sure. A goal scorer is needed. I think we also need a couple more midfield players, certainly one more on the par with Enzo Fernandez to really complete that midfield revamp. That's an area that's needs massively reinvesting. I mean, Fernandes was the first midfield player we signed since 2018 when we signed Jorginho and Kovacic. So, you know, the midfield's been an area that's need looking at for a while. We've got Enzo in. We need to get a couple more in, whether it's Declan Rice, whether it's Moises Caicedo, whether it's someone else. We'll wait and see. But yeah, you know, midfield for sure. And then, yeah, you know, we're looking at a centre forward. And obviously, Christopher Nkunku's arriving from Leipzig in the summer. He can play as a 9, but he's not really a 9. He's more a second striker or a 10 or someone that can operate off either side. So you're looking at names like, you know, Victor Osimhen at Napoli, Dusan Vlahovic from Juventus. I'm a massive fan of Ivan Toney. I'm at Brentford. Again, another player that I think would do well at Chelsea. But ultimately, you know, I think clubs are being put off going in for him right now until the outcome of that betting situation comes out, how long he's going to be ruled out for. Because you don't want to spend 50, 60 million quid on someone like a Toney and then he can't play for 6 months. So until that situation's clarified, I don't think clubs will move for him. But yeah, centre forward is definitely needed. And it's been a position that we've really struggled with over the years. As you say, you know, only really Drogba and Costa have been successful. When you look at the players we've had really good forwards like Shevchenko, like Torres, like Morata, Higuain, all guys that have had great careers. But at Chelsea, it's not really worked out. So yeah, that number 9 position. And, you know, every time you link with a number 9 as a Chelsea fan, you always worry about it because the chances are they're not going to work out. So for me, I'd rather us stay away from going for a big money signing at centre forward and maybe just go for someone that's a bit less of a name, someone maybe with a bit more Premier League experience. I mean, as I say, someone like an Ivan Toney, but let's wait and see what happens. But certainly a number 9 and certainly another midfield player as well will be top of the list in the summer.
Before we go on to the game, I want to ask you about this one. Patson Daka, linked with Chelsea in the last 2 windows now. Reported to be £40 million is what the media reported it as. What do you actually think of Patson Daka as a player, and would you take him at Chelsea?
I've got to be honest, man, I don't know an awful lot about him. The most experience I've got with him is on Football Manager, when he's where he is class. But
that shows you played as much for Leicester in real life.
But do you know what? Decent player, like not bad. Again, I think he scored 4 goals in that Europa League game for you last season, potentially, or maybe the season. Yeah, last season, I think. And
not really done much after.
He's not really done much after. I mean, it's a step up to come from the Austrian League to the Premier League. It's going to take him a little bit of time. He's not really set it alight at all. Goals have been kind of few and far between. Obviously, it's probably not helped playing in a struggling side. But not for me really. I'd have to see a lot more to be convinced.
Yeah, true. Let's go on to the game then, Charlie. Leicester versus Chelsea at King Power Stadium. 15th versus 10th. Chelsea won last weekend against Leeds. Leicester got defeated against Southampton 1-0. How big of a game is this one for Chelsea? I mean, surely that'd help if Chelsea are to get 3 out of 3. Obviously, beating Dortmund, beating Leeds. Obviously, you're unbeaten in the last 2 now. They're looking for that 3 out of 3, aren't they, under Graham Potter this weekend? How big of a game is it for Chelsea, this one?
It's massive. As you say, you know, we've kind of picked up a couple of positive results in the last week, which were much needed given our situation. And as I said earlier, you know, we haven't won on the road since October. I know we had a month off for the World Cup, but we're now in March, and there's still no away win. So that's the next step. You know, we've got to the Champions League last 8, big performance. We now need to pick up a win on the road and get the ball rolling away from home again, because it's not good enough for a club of our stature and our size to have not won a game away from home in the Premier League since October. We've picked up some hammerings, obviously battered at Brighton. We went up to Newcastle and lost. We've lost at Fulham. There's been Leeds as well. There's been a lot of games where we've gone away grounds we've gone to and we've just not turned up. So that really needs to change tomorrow. So this is huge, and it's also huge because can we follow up from Tuesday night? Was Tuesday night just because it was a big occasion under the lights at Stamford Bridge? It was the Champions League. The players were more up for it. Are those motivation levels going to have dropped slightly because it's a Premier League game? and whatnot. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this game's massive. It really is. And if we could back up that win against Dortmund with another win, then you could start to say, put 3 wins together, maybe we are turning the corner. But a loss tomorrow, then kind of Dortmund gets forgotten about, because you only get remembered for your last game, really. So you've got, as good as the Dortmund win was, we've got to follow it up with another win.
Yeah, I think tomorrow is a big game for Leicester. Obviously, 13 games left for the Foxes this season to save their season. They're not where they want to be. They're 2 points off the relegation zone. It's been a real downs and ups this season with Leicester. We've picked up a few wins here and there, but then it's becoming frustrating with Brendan Rodgers, the way he's now called it a mini versus a Ferrari this game. So he's basically called Chelsea a Ferrari and Leicester a mini. I think this one's a massive game for Leicester. We really need the points now if we are to get away from this relegation battle. There's about 8 teams in there. There's been talk tonight about Patrick Vieira potentially could be losing his job, with Palace uncertain about his relegation battle because they don't want to be pulled into it. But then we talk about Brendan Rodgers. There's ins and outs at Leicester regarding Brendan, and I think with Brendan, he always seems to hide away from defeats. He never will get the answer out of Brendan. And I think with Leicester fans now, they're more outs and ins with Brendan, and they feel there's time for change. That's how the fan base sees it. And I just think now, has Brendan ran his course with Leicester? Because I think he's taken Leicester as far as he can as a manager. He never normally lasts about 4 years. He only lasts about 3 years, and that's it. Things start going wrong, and it's now starting to go wrong with Brendan in this last year and a half cycle. But what's your thoughts on Brendan Rodgers, Charlie, from an insight in from a neutral supporter on Leicester?
I think he's a very good manager, good coach, good reputation in the game. Obviously, he was at Chelsea whilst Mourinho was there first time round. He's part of the academy set up, very, very well thought of. He's had good spells at Liverpool. I mean, obviously, I don't think ultimately he won anything, but he went very close with the league. Probably should have won the league that season. And if they'd managed to hold on, that would have potentially changed his career for completely. Good job there. Did a very good job at Celtic. Obviously, you can say that the SPL is not the best league. There's really only 2 teams in it, but complete domination there. And coming to Leicester, he's done a fantastic job. I think he has. Obviously, right now, things aren't going well. But, to win an FA Cup and a Community Shield with Leicester, 2 5th-place finishes. Yes, you should have finished in the top 4 in both of those seasons. But ultimately, I think from a Leicester fan perspective, if someone had said in Brendan's first 2 seasons, you'd finish 5th in the league and you'd win an FA Cup and a Community Shield, you'd be like, you think they're having you on. I think that for Leicester is phenomenal success. Yes, you had the Premier League title success, which was amazing. But to come 5th, win a couple of trophies, that's fantastic. Yes, things have started to tail off this season. He's not. I think it probably has reached the end, you would say, because you started the season. I think there was no wins in your first 7 or 8 games or whatever it was. Yeah. There was talk of the sack. Then put a run together. Now back in a bad run. But as you say, you've got 12, 13 games left. For teams that are wanting to stay in a division, that you're running out of time to make a change and for a change to have an impact. If Leicester are thinking of making a change, they need to do it sooner rather than later for it to have the desired impact of staying up. There's no point waiting another few games so you get to sort of 8 or 9 games left, because the impact someone coming in is going to have is going to be minimal. And then who are you going to get to come in for that amount of games that's actually going to make a difference? So if they are going to do it, they need to get a move on. Otherwise, you might as well stick with Brendan for the rest of the season. But yeah, it's certainly been a disappointing season in terms of the squad and the caliber of players available. Leicester should be doing a lot better than they are. Yeah,
they always say with Brendan, he has a good start for the first 3 years, and then after it tails off. He's now becoming excuse after excuse, you know what I mean? He's now said that one of his biggest achievements would be keeping Leicester in the Premier League.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
That's what he's come out with today in yesterday's press conference. But I just think that's now him under pressure. I mean, there was, like I said to you, after the first 8 games, after that big Tottenham result, there was talk that they can't sack him because they can't afford to sack him. And you're thinking, surely we've got this sort of money to sack him if we are going to sack him, but we've not. There's been rumours that players have fell out with him and stuff like that, like Vardy and that. I don't know how much you read into it, but then that happened at Liverpool with Agger. He's fell out with Yannick Vestergaard, Sionchu. He fell out with Dennis Pratt at one point. But with Brendan, he's now thrown the fans under the bus, the owners and all that. Do you think that's pressure that he knows he is under pressure, Charlie, as a manager now, knowing things ain't going well for him?
Yeah, it's always tough. You're always under pressure as a manager when things aren't going well. And, you'll try and deflect off the situation, or you try and kind of like try and big yourself up a little bit. So yeah, look, there's no two ways about it. Brendan's under pressure. He's an experienced manager. He knows the game inside out.
Do you think he's an elite manager?
Because
this is what they call him, an elite manager, elite mentality.
No, I don't think he's an elite manager, to be honest. I think there's elite, and then I think he's the next rung down. He's not quite there. Like, he's got the potential to do it, but
he ain't got no plan B.
I think for him, like, as you say, if whatever he sets out doesn't work, there's not really much scope for variation or ability to switch things up. So whilst he's very good and he's had a very successful career, I wouldn't put him in an elite level manager in terms of when you're talking about Mourinho's, Pep's, Klopp's, those kind of guys. He's not in that. He's not in that category. He'll probably be in the next rung down.
Yep, I agree. He always tries to downplay things as well, Brendan, and I think he doesn't help his situation with like press conferences because he's good at PRing what he does to like with the media. He's good at playing that part, but when it comes to like the talking in the game and things go wrong, it's like, well, deflect off it. It doesn't matter. I don't have to answer the question for it. But as a manager, you've got to be honest, haven't you, Charlie, when you're in this position and you are losing games, and you've got to find a way to put it right, haven't you? If you can't put it right, then with managers, the keeping their job situations based on results, and that isn't it, Charlie, in a football manager's game.
Yeah, for sure. It's a results-based business. Simple as that. And you can say all the right things, you can say whatever you want, and there can be legitimate reasons for certain things, injuries and whatnot, and things like that. But ultimately, if you're not picking up the results, those excuses don't really hold much substance. So yeah, you've got to pick the results up. I always think if you're really struggling as a manager, you're not getting results, the team aren't doing well, best approach is probably just to go back to basics. Just keep things as simple as possible, Try and keep it tight at the back. Don't give away stupid fouls. Don't give the ball away in stupid areas. And just try and be defensively solid. And then anything you can get on the break is perhaps a bit of a bonus. But I think, go back to basics. Just try and make yourself hard to play against.
Yeah, let's look at a few stats. Premier League head-to-head, played 33. We've beat you 6 times. You beat us 18 times, drawn 9. Last 5 results, we beat you once. You beat us 3 times, drawn 1. It's a positive stats for you, isn't it, Charlie? Looking at it as a Chelsea supporter.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we've done pretty well against Leicester during the Premier League times. Obviously, a lot of those would have been from a while back. Yeah. The more recent encounters, had a successful trip to the King Power last season. Obviously,
3-0.
3-0, played really well. Obviously, I think a couple of years before that, you beat us when ultimately in what was one of Lampard's final games in charge. I think Ndidi and someone else scored.
Madison.
Yeah, I think it might have been Madison as well, potentially. So, yeah, more recent times, King Power, we've picked up a couple of wins there. We're normally fairly decent against you at Stamford Bridge. But the King Power probably slightly more even. But yeah, look, the stats don't lie. We have generally done a lot better than you guys have done in this fixture. But I think we're entering this one tomorrow as 2 teams that are struggling, and I think that might be reflected in how the game plays out.
I agree. Last meeting, 2-1 at the Bridge. 10-men Chelsea beaten 11-men Leicester. Conor Gallagher got sent off, and then at 0-0, and we were thinking we could go on and win this. You got to take advantage, Leicester, and we didn't. Sterling scored 2 goals. in the second half, and you're thinking, how are you behind it for the 10-men Chelsea as a Leicester supporter, but we didn't give it our all. We got one back to make it 2-1, but yeah, we didn't really look great as a 11-men team versus 10-men Chelsea. Talk to me about the game, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that game. I was there. Gallagher, eager to impress. He wasn't getting that many opportunities. I think we'd lost at Leeds the week before, actually. And yeah, you go into that game, you need to win. And you're down to 10 men after half an hour, and you're just thinking, oh, fuck, we're in trouble here. But for whatever reason, like going down a man seemed to kick us into gear a little bit. And we get that goal, I think it was a deflected Sterling one early in the second half. And we just kind of kicked on from there, and we played really well. And then you get one back towards the end, and we just about managed to hold on. But I think from a Leicester perspective, despite coming to Chelsea, which is a tough place to come playing against a good team, to lose against a side that you play against with a man down for over an hour, you've got to be a little bit disappointed with it.
Yeah, I think that was the first game without Wesley Fofana since going to Chelsea. Chilwell was on the bench that day, we know that. He was getting a bit of a stick from the Leicester fans, said Ben Chilwell sits on the bench. Chilwell pointed to the Champions League trophy back at Leicester fans, and we now move on to footing both camps, Charlie. Who do you want to start with first? Should we start with Mr. Ben Chilwell? £50 million move to Chelsea. The last 9 to 10 games before his move, he didn't really play. He wasn't interested. Oh, I'm injured. He got his move to Chelsea that summer, and he then believed that the FA Cup final against Leicester were bigger than the Champions League final against Manchester City for you lot. So, yeah, I think with Chilwell, it's not really been the best of relationships with Leicester fans since leaving Chelsea. Scored that VAR goal, didn't he, in the FA Cup final, where he thought he got you back in it for VAR to roll him out. Talk to me about Ben Chilwell then.
No, I think he's been
good reception off Leicester.
No, I mean he's been really good for us. Obviously, he's been unfortunate in terms of he's had that ACL injury that he picked up. He was out for a long, long time, and then he picked up a hamstring injury in November, which ruled him out until like sort of start of last month. So he's had 2 pretty long-term injuries since he's been at the club, which has definitely set him back. But these last few games he's been fantastic. He was brilliant in midweek against Dortmund. He was really good against Leeds, and the return to the back 3 system in the last couple of days has really brought the best out of him again. I think that suits him a lot better. He's a good athlete. Getting forward, he's really good. He's dangerous in the final third. He's got a good finish on him. He does pop up with the odd goal here or there. And he's been a really good signing for us. So no complaints about Ben Chilwell, to be perfectly honest. It's just a shame that, he's had to miss a reasonable amount of game time because of the 2 serious injuries that he's kind of picked up. But yeah, delighted with Chilwell. I think he's a really good player. And long may it continue for us.
The next one we're going to talk to you about is the £75 million man, Wesley Fofana. Mr. Childish Games, cryptic clues on Twitter. Pushed for a move, didn't want to play, didn't turn up to training and all that with Leicester. Ended up getting his move in the end. Sorry about that. Talk to me about Wesley Fofana. I mean, he's not going to get a good reception off Leicester fans the way things ended with him. How do you think he's?
I think he's done really well. Obviously he came in the summer, missed the first few games of the season for Chelsea, obviously because he was still at Leicester. We didn't see an awful lot of him, to be honest, because he scored against AC Milan at home in the Champions League, picked up an injury that same game in October, and then we didn't see him again until Southampton a couple of weeks ago. So he's not played for us an awful lot. You can see he's got immense quality. And in the last few games, he's been superb for us. Starting with that second half against Southampton when he come on at half-time. He was great against Leeds, got the winner. Again, he was very good on Tuesday night against Dortmund. And as you Leicester fans will know, he's a top player. He's got so much quality, so much ability. And he's only going to get better and better with age, learning off from the likes of Thiago Silva and Koulibaly for experience.
Yep.
And in him and Badia Shield, two guys 21, 22 years of age, that we've got a centre-back pairing sorted for the next 5+ years if that's how long they end up staying at the club for, if they're still here for that. You know, we've got two of the best young centre-backs in European football. And yeah, Fofana, I can fully understand why he's not going to get a good reception because of the way he kind of conducted himself to force that move through, or to try and force that move through.
Yep.
But from a Chelsea perspective, you know, it's been a fantastic signing. It's just a shame that, you know, we haven't been able to see as much of him this season from injury reasons. But yeah, great player.
Yeah, he did to Leicester what he did to St Etienne when he moved to Leicester. So I'm not surprised by him. I get you want to play at the highest level as a player. Obviously, Leicester did a lot for him when he got injured, to bringing him back and then making sure he was fine and playing again and all that. And I just feel he's disrespected the club and gone about things the wrong way, Charlie, to be fair. He'd have been fine if it ended on good terms. He didn't do any of this nonsense on social media, because social media with footballers, it doesn't really work out for them, does it? They could just put one thing and then that's it. The whole of the media and the audience have caught out on it, haven't they, Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, look, it never tends to go well. I never really understand why footballers kind of do that social media kind of games when a transfer move is going on. Look, I can understand why players feel the need to do that, to try and get a move through. You know, you don't know when those opportunities are going to come in your career again, and you want to take them. Like I do get that, but I guess there's also certain ways of conducting yourself. And whilst from a rival fan perspective, when you see a player doing that, you think, oh, great, that increases our chances of forcing the deal through. But then you wouldn't really want your own players acting like that. But you know, it's a short career. You want to make the most of the talent you've got. You don't like if that move didn't happen. You know, would Chelsea? I'm sure Wesley Fofana would go on to play for a big football club. Of course he would. But would Chelsea come back in again for him? Maybe not. They would probably have just gone to look for someone else. I mean, they may well have done. So I can understand like the need to want to force it through and not want to miss out. But yeah, you know, I can fully understand from a Leicester perspective why they would obviously be annoyed at the way that he's conducted himself. But yeah, I mean, I'm delighted he's at the club because he's a top player.
Yeah, he had a lot of qualities. He's got a lot about him for Fofana to be a good player. But he then claimed in the media not long ago that we're all about a money move. So yeah, I don't go down well either talking to the media, because not the media they like to twist things and, you know, make stories. Talk to me about N'Golo Kante. Loved at Leicester through the 15-16 season, had a tremendous season, won the Foxes' hearts, and went to Chelsea the following season, won the Premier League. And then after that, he's gone on to win the Champions League, the World Cup as well. Talk to me about N'Golo Kante. How much love have Chelsea got for N'Golo?
Oh, mate, he's just a great guy, you know. But beside the fact that he's a world-class footballer, just a great guy, so humble. Everyone loves him. And he's been a great player for Chelsea. Obviously, this season, it's not been the best for him. He's not played since August, since the second game of the season against Spurs. Hopefully, he'll be back for Everton next weekend. That's kind of what Graham Potter was saying in the press conference today, that the aim is to have him to try and play some part in next weekend's game against Everton. But yeah, look, a world-class footballer, conducts himself in the best way possible. And, you know, we've got some great years out of him. Obviously, he's out of contract in the summer. Talks over a new deal are obviously underway at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, suggestions that that's more likely to be signed than not. But until it's done, you just never know. But you know, he's been a fantastic player for us. He's world class on his day. And yeah, just a great guy.
Danny Drinkwater did well at Leicester. Won the Championship. Won the Premier League with Leicester. Did his bit for Leicester, and then Chelsea wanted a midfielder, but they wasn't sure between Drinkwater or Ross Barkley. But they ended up with both. They spent more money than what they wanted to. Talk to me about Drinkwater's career. Conte wanted Drinkwater, but then it all went downhill, didn't it? He went on loan to Reading. He's
It's been a disaster.
Been to Turkey and all that. He's been drinking, nightclubbing, getting beat up and all that. Talk to me about Drinkwater.
Mate, it was a really odd signing because I don't actually think Conte wanted him because that deal got completed on the deadline day, and he played a few games after he signed, but it just never happened for him at Chelsea, and it's not happened for him at all since he's left Leicester. Literally from that moment, his career has just gone completely down the drain. As you say, he's had loan spells in the Championship at Reading, up at Burnley. He's been on loan at Villa. He's been on loan in Turkey. God knows where he is. I've got no idea where he's at now.
No.
But yeah, it's just not worked out for him. I do feel sorry for him, to be perfectly honest, because obviously he was a very good player at Leicester, instrumental alongside Kante in winning that Premier League. And then, you get your big move to Chelsea. And it's just been a complete disaster for him. And his career has never been the same since then.
I agree. He had a lot of potential, Drinkwater. Scored some very good goals for Leicester. Played well with Kante in that 15-16 season. Kante, Drinkwater had that connection. They was one of the best partnerships that season in the Prem. And Drinkwater had a good career at Leicester. Just a shame he ended up going to Chelsea. But, you've got to, as a player, like you say, you want to be at the highest level. And I think that is a move that Drinkwater couldn't turn down. Talk to me about team selection, Charlie. What's your 11 of Chelsea? Obviously, going to be missing quite a few players. Mason Mount, Thiago Silva, Reece James, Kante. Who else?
Sterling's a doubt, which makes me think that he probably won't start. At best, he'll be on the bench. Aubameyang's out, I think, but that's not a complete disaster. He's barely played. In terms of my lineup, I'd like to see us stick with the back three. So for me, Kepa in goal, Fofana, Koulibaly, and this is quite tough on Badiashile, but because he's been superb, but it's really difficult to drop Marc Cucurella after that man of the match performance against Dortmund. So I'd stick with the same back three there. Ruben Loftus-Cheek to replace Reece James at right wing back, and then Ben Chilwell at left wing back. I'd go Enzo and Zakaria in midfield. Kovacic has been good, but he's played quite a lot of football recently, so I'll probably make one change there. Then the front three, João Felix, it'll be Kai Havertz, and I'll go Mikhailo Mudryk as well.
Okay. Leicester, I'm going to go Danny Ward in goal. I think what I'd like to see in the 11 is, I think he'll go with Suter and Wout Faes as the back two. Or will he switch it to a back five and put Sionchu or Johnny Evans in? Who knows? If I'd like to see Ricardo on the wing if Barnes isn't playing with Tete either side. Castagno, if Ricardo switches to the wing, then I think he'll bring Luke Thomas in. KDH and Maddison. Iheanacho and Vardy. Do we go two up front to beat Chelsea? I think we're going to have to go two up front to get some out of the Chelsea game, to be fair, because I don't think one up front really worked for Leicester, unless it depends on all these defences, and we're not really doing great this season, who switch on and off. Terry's got back five all day long. Obviously, we're going to put Mendy in that centre defensive midfielder as well. So, yeah, I think he'll probably go one up front, to be fair. So, Ward, Castagno, Faes, Suter, Luke Thomas, Ricardo, Mendy, Dewsbury Hall, Maddison, Tete, and Iheanacho. So I think that's what we'll go for. Come on. So I'll be happy with any team as long as it wins. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's what you've got to go for. But I think I'd like to see Ricardo on the wing, to be fair. But we'll see what Brendan Rodgers has got in his pipeline. Charlie, the last question then. Score.
I'll go for a 2-1 Chelsea win.
Any particular goal scorer?
Let's have a think. I'll go Felix and let's go for Fofana.
If that happens, he scores the winner. I don't think that stadium will be happy. Guys, get your score predictions in. I'm going to go 1-0. 1-0 to the Foxes tomorrow. I think we'll nick it 1-0. If we can play well, then it might be a different score, but I'm just going to go 1-0 to Leicester because any win's good for Leicester in the position that they're in. But Charlie, before you go, mate, tell everyone where they can find you then on the socials and what you do on the YouTube, pal.
Yes, thanks, mate. So obviously my Twitter is at CharliePatrick0. It's on my my display, my screen name. And then my personal YouTube channel is the Blues Brothers, the Chelsea one, not the music one. It's quite obvious. And I also do a podcast and fan cams after the game on ChelseaFanTV. So you want to head over there, hear myself and the other guys' thoughts after the Leicester game tomorrow outside of King Power, then you can check those out. So yeah, Blues Brothers, my personal channel, ChelseaFanTV, and my Twitter is on my screen name at the moment.
Cheers, Charlie. I'm not going to wish you all the best for tomorrow. I hope it all goes wrong for Chilwell and Fofana. I hope Leicester can get a win over them pair. But all the best for the rest of the season after tomorrow, mate.
No, thank you, mate. You too. I mean, obviously, yeah, not tomorrow, but after that, I do hope you guys stay out. I do like Leicester. I do like them.
Cheers, Charlie.
Cheers, mate.
That was Charlie from ChelseaFanTV / the Blues Brothers. Thank you for him for coming on and giving me the insight into Chelsea and giving us thoughts on Leicester. But no, 2-1. Thank you to everybody who has joined tonight. Sorry, the phone call in the middle of the show kind of like switched me off. But yeah, I was back. Don't worry. But fingers crossed we can go and get a result tomorrow against Chelsea. We need a win and we really need to go and get out of this relegation battle because if we don't turn up tomorrow, then we're going to be looking over our shoulder again with the other teams like West Ham and that, Everton, Southampton, all them teams. And we're only 2 points off the relegation zone. So we really need the wins right now. And guys, go and back the team. Go and get behind the team in these next 13 games. And let's get out of this relegation battle, shall we? Thank you for watching as always. Smash a like for me if you enjoyed the stream tonight. Subscribe to the Final Whistle if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already. Please go and do so. What's coming up on the Final Whistle? So we've got the Chelsea match review. That'll be coming on Monday. We've got the match day vlog for Leicester women versus Everton women. And we've got the Leicester versus Chelsea match day vlog. As Fofana returns to the King Power Stadium for the first time since his £75 million plus move to Stamford Bridge. Guys, as always, thank you for watching. Pleasure, bro. Yeah, agree with you. Need to back the team. Yeah, to Jack, take care. Yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Have a good rest of your Friday night and come on the City. Take care, everyone.